Welcome to Moments with Marianne. This is your host, Marianne Pastana, and we're here today with special guest, Leatrice Woody, who's here to share with us her work and book, Not Without Love, 7 Tasks to Check Off. So what can a retired police officer teach us about healing a city and ourselves through compassion? Well, today's guest is here to share with us just that. Leatrice Woody is a retired Chicago police officer with over 21 years of service, now devoted to bridging the gap between law enforcement and the communities they serve. A lifelong resident of Chicago and entrepreneur since the age of 9, she has launched multiple ventures, including 3 salons, real estate projects, and her patent product, Buff & Go Portable Nail Salon, now sold globally. With a bachelor's in business and communication, she is a certified life and business coach with Blue Heart Coaching, empowering others to succeed personally and professionally. Her 4-time best-selling book, Not Without Love, 7 Tasks to Check Off, offers practical tools for personal growth and trust building in law enforcement, informed by her own experiences with trauma, healing, and community transformation. So welcome to the show, Leatrice Woody.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
My goodness, what an honor it is to have you here and to talk about this book and the work you're doing. I'd like to start, though, from the beginning, and because you have such a fascinating background. So why don't we start with the transition you made from being a Chicago police officer? I mean, my goodness, you gave so many years of service, over 21 years of service, to doing the work that you're doing now.
Oh, wow. Because it's still in the service area. I'm still being a servant of God. When I was a police officer and now, with the Not Without Love Foundation, bridging the gap, uniting law enforcement workers with the public. And so it's just always some work to do. It's always a place where you can serve and help the people. And I'm excited about that. I mean, I'm just so excited about helping people. It just brings my heart so much joy. So, uh, left the job and asked God, what capacity can I still serve? And He put it on my heart, Not Without Love Foundation, and our amazing bestseller Amazon book, Not Without Love: 7 Tasks to Check Off.
Well, and it would seem that with your unique experience as a police officer, did you see that there was a gap to fill with the local law enforcement and the community?
Most definitely, especially in the times when we had the civil unrest, and they think it's a us against them, and it's like, hey, we trying to hold back the darkness. We trying to make sure that we can all roam the streets safely, and so I think officers get a bad break with that, because if one officer does something not right, then everybody who's wearing the uniform has done something that's not right. And I believe that that is not right. I do not like that at all. Judge me on what I do. And so, yeah, it's definitely a disconnect. They thinking it's a us against them. And I think that the bad actors have really played their role, meaning they have convinced good citizens that the police is not their friends, or the police is not there to help them. And so that's a big problem, because we are there to help them. I laid my life on the line. I worked some of the most challenging districts, and I work 99 and by myself in a squad car. So I needed to know how to talk to people. You got to know how to treat people, because you're alone. And I get it. I've been on that side before. I've been a citizen, and all officers are citizens to this day. We may wear the uniform, but we still citizens, and we want to have safe communities as well. So it's a lot of work that need to be done, and I'm up for the challenge to get it done.
Well, it would seem that there's been just different levels of, upset or, you know, um, division within our communities than there have been over the years. How has Not Without Love really addressed those?
So we go out and we have community events. And, we just trying to, let the people know that, we got to help one another. It's not one person's job. It's not the police job alone. It's not, the parents' job alone. It's all of our jobs to be good, good to each other. And I believe that that's what a misconception come in that, everybody want to blame a certain group of people or certain, they point a finger, you the problem, instead of looking back like it's four fingers pointing back at you. What can you do to help resolve the problem? How can you show love? How can you, assist, in our efforts to making, the city safe, the community safe? We don't know our neighbors anymore. I remember a time we knew everybody on the block, everybody on the next block, in the community, in the neighborhood. We knew each other. Some happened with COVID. People really started to, just step away from being human. It's like we're human, and we're meant to uh, work with each other and love each other and be there for each other. So I don't understand, where we're at right now. And it breaks my heart. So that's why I be up all night long, trying to figure out a way, how can we bridge the gap? And so community efforts, we have a community event coming up next week where we're going to have coffee and conversations. And Not Without Love is sponsoring, of course, the first 20 people for some coffee and something to eat with the officers and, the public there. Let's have a conversation. Let's get to know each other. And I think we can start there.
Well, what a blessing that is to be able to bridge that divide and bring people together, because that ends up being much more than a cup of coffee.
Exactly, and I'm hoping we can, make officers human again. They're humans. I mean, they have the same issues you have. So imagine I'm trying to help you with your marital problems, and I'm at home having marital problems. I'm trying to help you with your teenager, and my teenager's giving me problems. And so, like I said, we're the same. And until people can identify that, hey, I'm no different than you. I put my pants on one leg at a time, just like you. And I want safety, and I want a community that look out for each other too.
I think we all kind of want to go back to a period where we knew our neighbors and we cared about the safety within our community.
That's one of the events we want to put on too. Get to know your neighbor, and that's knocking on the door and just introducing yourself. I mean, I may not be borrowing a cup of sugar from you, so don't be afraid to open the door. I just want to introduce myself so you'll know. Hi, I'm Latrice, and I'm next door. And hi, I'm Tamika. I'm James. I'm so if we know each other and we helping each other, we'll start to help each other once we get to know each other. And then if I see somebody on the block doing something they're not supposed to do, or, I'm looking at you go in the house, make sure you get in safe. If I see something, I say something, versus now it's so cold hearted. You see somebody getting beat, they videoing it. How that's not human to me. That's really disturbing to me that you won't help, that you won't call, ask for, get them some help, but you a video so you can get likes and shares. And I find that very, very unhuman, you know.
Oh boy, do I know that. I am right with you on that one.
Yeah, because John, the Bible says in John 13:34, to love one another, as he loved you. And there's no greater love than a person that lay down their life for another. And so I was willing to do that, and still willing to do that while I was working the job. People running out of a building, we're running in. So that says something. That should say something to people like, hey, yeah, we get paid to do that, but who wanna risk their lives. We do it every day, so it's like if everybody take a chance to say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna help somebody, even if it causes you some discord or some uncomfortableness. I don't know. I want God to know that, yeah, I lay down my life if I had to, for another, you know.
Well, thank you for all of your service and just being such a brave soul on many different levels, both with the work that you're doing and then also just the service that you continue to provide. And there's one thing in your book that you touch on that I'd like to dive into. You describe love as essential in law enforcement. So
Mm.
what does leading with love look like in real time on the job?
Well, that's a great question. I think that in law enforcement, we're taught to to act out orders or to do what we're told. And I think that the missing part of that is that officers are hurting, and they need help and they need love too. And so it would be great if if the boss is led with like a coaching style kind of leadership, where when you do see something that's not right with an officer or it's questionable, that you call them in and you let them know, hey, I just want to talk to you. Come on in, let me talk to you. I notice you've been late a lot, or I notice that you haven't been smiling like normal. Is everything okay? Is it anything that I can do, or how can I assist you? People want to be seen and heard, and that includes officers and first responders. Everybody want to be acknowledged. They want to be helped. They want to be loved. And so I think on the job, if we can do more of that kind of leadership with our bosses, and like actually seeing the officers and saying, hey, I know you're going through something, let's see how we can help you. And I think that will go a long way. And then self-care, I think we're not taking care of ourselves. They're not taking care of themselves. Most, you know your mental and your physical and spiritual self. And what I mean by that is that we pack it on. We're told we can handle this. This is what we suited up for. This is why we got in this career and in this field. So be stone and be, made of steel, and nothing hurts you, and nothing affects you. And in actuality, it does. They're human. So it's going to affect them and it's going to hurt them. And so self care is important, taking your vacations, eating the right foods, taking walks, spending time with people that love you. Your on duty cavalry has to be just as strong as your off duty cavalry. That means you need some home support with your family members, and you need the support of your officers and your bosses. And so it's like, we just need to look at each other and say, hey, if you need me, I'm here. We need to talk to each other. Hey, I'll listen if you need me. Because our suicide rates are high, And what makes me afraid is that, first, officers may take their lives in the garage or in their homes or in the woods. But now it's getting closer to home. It's at the police stations, in the police lot. Now it's in the police stations. That's a cry for help. And so I know we have a lot of programs, but we just need to check in with each other more. But how can you do that if you're going through something, and so you got to take care of self first. That's why the word said love yourself as love your neighbors. You love your neighbors as you love yourself. And so you got to take the time out to take care of you. It doesn't work without you.
Well, there's so much talk nowadays about secondary trauma. A
Hmm.
lot of things that we didn't know about 10, 20 years ago. And to be able to look at this and go, okay, there's no physical way a human can experience all these things without going through some type of trauma of their own.
Hmm.
And I think your book, Not Without Love, really helps maybe supervisors and new officers and people just to really look at what that secondary trauma looks like and how to start having questions about what we need to do.
Yeah, that would be really awesome. And like I said, maybe that's why I put, I'm a business coach, a life coach. I went to a coaching program where they got thousands of coaches all over the world. And so that's one of the things I wanted to offer in the foundation is coaching for officers, first responders, and if citizens need coaching, and to help you talk through what's ailing you. And everybody may not need psychiatry kind of help, but you may need somebody to just talk to about, I'm thinking about buying a house, or I'm thinking about moving to another district, but I'm afraid. Just having somebody that you can talk to, and and they can ask you the questions that need to be asked, so you can come up with the answers and the solutions that you need to have. People don't know. Everybody's trying to do the outer. It's within. Everything's gonna come from within you. That's where you and that's what God is. So we have to do the inner work. And I think a lot of people try to bypass that and try to do the microwavable thing that's on the outside. But we have to do the inner work, and that's meditating, that's stretching, that's whatever religion or whatever thing that you can do to make sure your spiritual man is strong and comforted. And you have to do the work. And I think everybody looking for the work on the outside, even me. I just came to a conclusion that it's some hurt there. If you read the book Not Without Love, Seven Tasks to Check Off, you can go to our website nwlfoundation.org, or on Amazon, or on the website. You can get there on Amazon. In that book, I tell you some stories, and it's still traumatic, to me to this day. eh, eh, Being a business owner and then having somebody come in your place and harm one of your clients, and it's just, it takes a toll on you. Just the things that I've done in my life or experienced in my life. I'm not saying to you I didn't have any problems. Yeah, I have challenges too, and but I seek a higher power to help me with those challenges. And I know a lot of people may not believe in God, but I'm not a good gambler. So I don't want to say that it's not, and it is, and it it is, and it's not. How about I just live my life like it is? Like, I'm hold myself accountable. The true person that I am is the person that nobody sees, or it's what I do when nobody's looking. That's the real me. So I try to do what I'm supposed to do at all times. But of course, we all fall short. Nobody's perfect. But I'm just saying, we all can use some healing, and some conversations with somebody to help us through our difficult times. It's always somebody that can help.
I know that it said that your foundation, Not Without Love, will be successful in any endeavor. Can you explain what that means and how this mindset could really impact a person's life?
And whether it's not just based on law enforcement and the community. It's everybody, no matter what job or profession or whatever you're a part of. Everybody can use love. Everybody can use, okay, if you don't want to say love, respect. If that's love to me. If somebody respects you, that's love. And so everybody can benefit from that, from those actions of caring and being compassionate and being empathetic, having empathy for people. you know we all can benefit from that. And that's what the world, I believe, is missing. Is missing love. So that's when God put Not Without Love on my heart. I'm like, wow, this is perfect. I've been doing this my whole life, just, serving people and being good to people. And people think, oh, because you're a servant or you nice, that you humble, that you're a fool. No, no, that's not what it is. That's not what it is. I'm I'm doing what and God put in my heart to do, and you just get the benefit of it. You know, I'm I'm not foolish. I just love love, and I love to see people happy, and it hurts me that they're not. And so anybody can benefit. We can go out and talk to the youth, as we do. We have dialogue, and we do training where we, interact with the youth on their experiences that they had with police officers, or with people in the neighborhood, and we reenacted it versus what they did and what they should have done or what they could have done. You know, that kind of thing. So whether it's the youth at churches that we go talk to, or a community establishments, or if it's the districts, where we talk with youth and seniors, or if it's corporate America, wherever it's at, we are not without love. Everybody needs. You can't do anything successfully without love. I don't believe you can.
Thank you for sharing that. I think that that's so beautiful and it's so true. I mean, we need to look at a different way of being. And it kind of, I know earlier you touched on the well-being of our cities and how it's the responsibility of everyone. It's not a matter of legislation, but really, it should be our primary intention. So, with that thought, what can our citizens do to really be committed to help bring this intention into a reality?
Wow, that's great. We're always looking for volunteers to help with different events and things like that. But, I just think being kind, to your neighbor, helping someone that's in need, and definitely, going to nwlfoundation.org just to see how you can support. Of course, I've been funding this project out of my own funds from my retirement savings, which has dwindled down because I told God I would do it. I'll do it. I'll spend every dime I have, you know, putting this foundation together, writing this book, going out to do the work. I go out and I do the work. I do questions and answers with the youth, and so of course they get the answer right. They want a gift, so of course I'm bringing gift cards and gifts, and this all out of my pocket. And I remember we had a young lady who, when we were on NBC, Matt in the morning, and one of the listeners, viewers called in and say, I really liked it, you, and I was really excited about what you were doing. But then when I went to your website, I was very disappointed. And I was like, wow, I hate to hear the word disappointed in my name in the same sentence. Um, and so I was like, to be I'm doing the best I can. This is out of pocket money, my money that I spent, to do this. And so we have more money, our website will be better. Trust me, I'm working on that, right? We've done the work. We just got to put it on the site. So we're working on that, but slow and steady wins the race. I'm not Rockefeller family, so I don't have a bunch of money, but as I get monies in, I'll make those investments. So how can the people help? That's one way you can help. You can donate. You can donate to the cause. We're going to be very transparent about the things that we do. I believe in honesty. I don't play no games when it comes down to being responsible for not only my money and my things. I do the same for everybody else. So I just want to be able to do the work and update our website and do the things that we have, coming up to do, to keep raising the money, to keep doing the work, because there's so much work to do. I want to do the What Would Officer Woody Do program, in the summer for the youth. I got to pay people to do that. I haven't paid myself anything from the last 2 years since I started this. And it's because, I'm all in. I'm locked in and I'm all in to help.
Well, I'm sure that's a little disappointing to hear that, but I think perhaps that person was missing the bigger message, which is what is actually there at the website, the Not Without Love. You've got the book, you have resources for people to tap into. So there's so much there that's already being given freely.
Exactly. And then, people invite you to places, to other organizations. You have to show up, you got to buy tickets, you got to support, you got to give. I love to give. So, but eventually one day I'm going to have to, you know, get paid, reimburse myself the monies that I spent. But, it is what it is. Like you say, hey, I'm doing my part. And if everybody else want to do their part, go to the website and help us out. Now the book is really good, I heard. I heard it was really good, that the stories were so profound and amazing, and it's helping. I need to get this book to every officer. I need to get this, and I want the citizens to have the book too, so they'll know how officers really y- act and perform behind the scenes, how we really help. You just don't know how many times I've taken money out of my own pocket to help. I had a girls organization at one of the high schools, and out of my pocket, just spending money for them to go on trips or have things that they need, because some of them are homeless, and some going through domestic situations. Some, it was just so much going on as a school officer, and my heart went out to them. So I'm finding myself, I needed to do overtime just to help the kids, with the things that they needed. So this is some of the things that people don't tell you or share with you about how officers really, you know, help out.
There's so much that they do out of their own pocket to help people. One of the things I want to touch on is, I mean, law enforcement is such an essential component of our society and life. How are those that are really those in uniforms that are holding back the darkness and chaos that make our life the pleasant life that we're living in, how are they able to do that?
Wow. That's a great, like you said, that's a great question. I mean, for me, it was having faith in God. For me, and for others, it's like maybe it's for them too. It's a religion, or a lot of people got on this job to help people. That's still a real thing. It's like I got on this job not just for the benefits, not just the camaraderie, not just to have power over people and to wear a badge and a gun. I came on this job to make a difference. I had a great encounter with an officer, and that made me want to be an officer. You know what I'm saying? So you have those stories on the job that they do it because they love people. They do it because they want to see change. They do it because their fathers or their brothers or their sisters may have done it. You know what I'm saying? But they doing it because they know that it needs to be done. I mean, I can't imagine. Can you imagine a world without law enforcement? We already getting robbed and taken advantage of. I think we had like 24,000 property crime things that happened in this year alone. I mean, yes, crime is going down. Larry Snelling, I love the boss, is doing an amazing job. But we still have crime. Of course, I know we're a big city and we got a lot of crime, but it's going down. Yes, it is. But it could be worse if we didn't have law enforcement officers to put their lives on the line. I know they say, oh, we are just a reactive police force. When we try to be proactive, sometimes that, you get us in trouble. If I try to, do before the crime occur, I'm being too aggressive. Then if I do it after the crime occur and come make the report, I haven't done enough. So how do they do it? I believe it's the love for others, and it's a love for wanting to see our city and our communities get better.
I know you've mentioned this before, but I'd like to touch on it again, the Not Without Love Foundation's work. You guys are doing such profound work there. How can people support the foundation? Because foundations don't just magically have money tree growing in the backyard. How can people support the foundation and be involved?
That would be really great. Like I said, if they go to N as in Nancy, W as in William, L as in Larry, foundation.org. They can go there and they can donate. They can become a partner. They can become a volunteer. They can purchase a book. They can do books for other people. That helps because a percentage of the book goes to the foundation. Like I said, I put my skin in the game. I wrote the book. I paid big money. I went through a process that I probably shouldn't have went through, but I spent a lot of money getting that process done. But it's a beautiful book and it's like a love story. The pages are colorful. I just wanted people to feel the love. Like this is love here, and it's an excellence, and that's how they can support. Go to the website, help us out. Partner with us. Because if it's crime anywhere, it's crime everywhere. It affects us all. It's no, they got crime in Los Angeles. They got crime in New York. Crime is everywhere. So it's all of our problems. So how can you help? Man, that's how you can help. Donate so I can continue to do the work and we can get into other cities. Donate. Purchase the book. That would be amazing.
Well, Latrice, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the show with us here today.
Super excited. You so lovely. I love you. And I thank you for having this amazing show to showcase the amazing work that people are doing and that they will continue to do with the help of your listeners.
Well, thank you, Latrice. It's been such an honor to spend this time with you and to talk about your book and nonprofit Not Without Love. Make sure to visit nwlfoundation.org to learn how you can get involved, learn more about the book, and be part of Leatrice's community. Well, we're at the end of our time today. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You've been listening to Moments with Mary Ann, where we make every moment count.
In a single moment, your life can change. Moments with Mary Ann is a transformative hour that covers an endless array of topics with the best of the best. Her guests are leaders in their fields, ranging from inspirational authors, top industry leaders, and business and spiritual entrepreneurs. Each guest is gifted and a true visionary, a recognized leader in her own work, and while teaching others to develop, refocus, and grow, Mary Ann will bring the best guest and sometimes a special surprise. Don't miss this. You never know just which moment will change your life forever. Make sure to tune in and visit momentswithmaryann.com for more information.